And we are now live with the One More podcast.
Hey guys, welcome back to the week 3 of the One More podcast, which covers all of your favorite Persona 4 Arena news. This is Vibrating Sheep.
I'm Dasabro.
And this is Koopa.
And so I do want to start this one out with a big ol' congratulations to everyone who's been coming out to the tournaments for Persona 4 Arena. This is still really strong attendance. We had, 91 people, I think it was, down in SoCal with you, Dacid?
Yeah, the Alex Vi Level Up tournament had 91 entrants.
Yeah, so it's run very well.
Yeah, Big 2 has 31 people for it last week, which was more than AE and I think Marvel combined, wasn't it?
Not combined, but more than both of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. And TNT actually had a bunch of people coming out for Persona 4 also.
Yep,
so this is a really
there too.
Yeah, this is a really strong start. I hope we all can keep it up.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Vibrating Sheep. How about you hit up our first topic for this week?
Yeah, and so a lot of people actually are going into their first tournaments with this game. So what I want to talk to both of you seasoned tournament players is, how do you get over those initial tournament jitters?
Okay.
This is a big topic, for sure.
Mm.
Actually,
I could take it.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Well, a little backstory about how I got into fighting games. I started with Arcade Infinity. I was new in BlazBlue to fighting games, and I went straight into tournaments pretty much after net playing for about half a year, maybe a year. But in tournaments, obviously I encountered the same thing that everyone else did. Suddenly, when I was in tournament, I just could not do anything right anymore. It's this bizarre phenomena when you enter a tournament. Suddenly it matters, and you recognize that it matters, and your fingers just stop functioning correctly. The best thing to do is kind of frustrating, but like the best way to get over it is to continually lose in tournament. As I went to more and more tournaments, eventually it started to get much more natural, and even as I started to feel more successful, started to become more confident in my own ability, I started to be actually better in tournament. Currently, I am nowhere near as good as casuals as I am in tournament. So if you really get comfortable with it, you can harness it and use your body's natural fighting instinct to actually do better when it matters. I would say that figuring that out is very beneficial if you can. Not everyone can do it, but if you're the kind of person that can tap into that kind of tournament energy, it's really useful.
Mm. I also want to mention that certain players have their own kind of ritual that they go about before they enter a tournament. Some of it can be pretty elaborate, like you grab your PS3 pad and you blow on it 3 times, and then you look at it and make sure no one messed with it. My favorite is when Vance does that. I think it's pretty funny. Another one is some players find it really easy to have headphones on and just cut out the noise. And that way they're able to focus as well as at least lessen some of their tournament jitters. I'm actually starting to find that a little bit helpful. At EVO, when they had I think it was the headsets, right, which were connected to the PS3, when I put them on, I wasn't as nervous when I was playing as top players. Shouts to Cafe ID Guts, or id Guts actually, as I pronounce it now. But if you happen to have a ritual or anything at all, even if you're superstitious, give that a shot. It might actually help you. You never know. Headphones as well.
I actually have one myself.
What is it?
Before any important match,
Mm-hmm.
I always run my hands through hot water, and it does 2 things for me. Like, for one, it makes sure that my hands are not cold when I play,
Right.
and that's actually really important. If it's cold weather, you don't want cold hands going into a tournament match, or you actually could be stiff and your inputs are not 100% correct. But it's also because I lost an early tournament match because my hands were cold, and after the match, all I could think was, God, I wish I didn't have cold hands, or I could have won that match. But then I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, like, that's so ludicrous. Like, I need to make sure I don't have any excuses in future matches. Like, of course, like, classic excuses like the stick wasn't working, TV was lagging, like, et cetera, et cetera. And I decided that I would do that every time before an important tournament match to make sure that I would remind myself I would not have any excuses after the match.
Actually, on that note, I really recommend also getting warmed up before you get into your tournament, whether it's before grand finals or... Actually, ideally before tournaments, so you play casuals a bit too. You get those jitters out. Maybe even analyze an opponent. I remember when I was at the launch event in SoCal with you, right? I got to play a little bit with Richard Nguyen, and I was like, let me try to block this guy and see how well I do. Ended up doing pretty well. I was like, oh, okay, so this is around the level of competition I'm going to face here, which is pretty high. I'm happy about that. But let me see. My personal ritual that I do before every tournament is I sacrifice 3 Vita-Braiding sheeps. Yeah, I make sure that they're all plugged in via any source of electricity, and then I chop their heads off.
Wait, Kuva, let me just ask this out straight up.
Go ahead.
Are you still salty that I beat you in casuals on Saturday?
No! Not even the slightest bit, I swear. I'm just saying, you know, sacrificing sheep can help you win tournaments.
Dom, did you have anything to say on this?
Well, yeah. So a lot of tournament nerves can come from the noise level, and so that's why a lot of people have their, their headphones and things like that. But something that helps me is actually to add to the noise level. Like a lot of people, when they're talking shit, myself included, they're doing it just to release all of the emotion that's just building up inside of them. So, for example, whenever I do Circus Bear as Teddy, I always scream, "I'm out!" just as a reminder, right? It's a reminder to myself. It's like, don't panic. I've done a reversal super. I'm gonna start planning. I don't care about the part where my bear actually comes across the screen, right? It's one of those things where it's just like, I would rather start using that time to focus and think about what's going to happen when I'm falling from the sky, right? You want to use anything you can to focus yourself and concentrate on what you're going to be doing next. You can use that to avoid thinking about what just went wrong and start thinking about what you need to do to turn it around. And that's really important in order to get some sort of mental focus. Like, for everyone, it's different. For David, it's washing his hands. For Koopa, it's ritually sacrificing basically voodoo dolls of me. But anyway, it's just a matter of, there's going to be a lot of noise at a tournament. That's one of the things that so many people are not used to when going from couch to arcade, because a lot of this fighting game community came out of an arcade setting where you had to be able to shout over the machines in order to be heard, and one of the skills involved was trying to shit talk in such a way that that one, he heard you and it tried to rattle him, but two, like, sometimes you just wanted to make the guy laugh.
Yeah.
And it would get him off of his game, and so it became a huge part of the mental game, trying to make sure that you didn't get distracted by the guy shouting next to you, you didn't get distracted by the guy shouting behind you, you didn't get distracted by the DDR machine in the corner, by the Beat Mania machine in the opposite corner. There was just so many distractions, even in casuals. And so it took a lot in order to try and focus all of that out. And everyone has their own ways, and the only way to really learn what works for you is to do it yourself.
If I may add also to this conversation, or the topic at least, I also see a lot of top players, when they feel a little bit confused about a matchup, they take a pause before the matchup, after a match ends, and the main reason for this is just to clear their mind out of all the distractions that may exist in an arcade or a tournament. And also, it really helps that before you go into any match, you kind of have like a mental image of what you're going to do, like a game plan, really. And classically, you don't want to get hit out of that game plan, because everyone has a plan until they get hit. But this is a video game, don't worry about it. It's not going to hurt that much. Actually,
that leads to an interesting conversation, because after one of the TNTs, back when it was back last year, I was talking to Crisis about how he wasn't pausing, even though his game plan was getting blown up, and he was saying that there's an opposite end of that coin, where if you're doing badly and you're shaken, if you pause, you'll start thinking about how shaken you are. And so it goes into just how everyone's psychology is different. I mean, David, what do you do when you get blown up? Do you take a pause, or do you go right back into it and just think, you know what, I should be able to do this?
When I get blown up, and it's so bad that I literally didn't understand what happened, I'll definitely pause. I'll think about it. That has to be a matchup I don't know at that point. But in the case that I'm playing against someone, usually if I lost, I just got outplayed. It's not like anything new came up. It's not like anything didn't make sense to me. I just need to adapt, which probably means I need to get back in quicker so that I can figure out what it is faster, instead of giving it time to rest and kind of like potentially imagining something that's not there. I would rather just continue to crunch the numbers in real data. But if it's like a matchup I don't know, I will absolutely take maybe a minute, 2 minutes at the character select screen to think about what on earth just happened, because I was not prepared.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a lot of sense. And this just sort of leads me into one final story. Back when Cross Tekken was in its infancy, Dacid's gonna know how terrible this story is. It tells you how terrible of a person I am. But Rose entered the tournament for the first time, and she had Dacid around just for moral support. And me being the troll I am, I decided to gather, Bobby Siege and me, and we decided to form the Elite Beat Agents.
Okay.
And so we got behind Rose, and we just started shouting encouragement. And at some point, it just turned into just shouting for the sake of shouting, because it was me and Bobby Siege.
Okay.
And obviously she's not tournament hardy.
And so after the match, she wins, but she turns around and she's like about to punch me.
Probably between punching you and crying. Probably somewhere between those two.
Somewhere between those two, it's true. But it just goes to say, it's like everybody has their own ways, and what you have to do is you have to be able to learn what works for you. It's a line from Bull Durham. It doesn't matter if you're winning because you're wearing women's underwear. It doesn't matter if you're winning because you're not wearing women's underwear. If you think that's why you're winning, then that's why you're winning.
And if I could add a final sub point, if you're cheering for someone, make sure your cheering is helping.
Yes.
Because in the case of Vibrating Sheep and Bobby, their cheering was probably destroying her.
Oh God.
But if I was
sorry,
cheering for Rose, if I was cheering for Rose and I knew that this match mattered, I would be in a very calm voice. I would be saying, just stick to whatever you were already thinking to do. Like, I would be calming her down because the energy does not help her. But if someone's cheering for me, I tell them, don't say anything about the match. Don't say anything that makes any sense whatsoever. Just scream and yell and pop off. Like, I don't care what you say. Just give me the energy.
Okay. Take off your shirt, Dacid. This
Basically.
has no relevance to the fighting game.
Basically.
Oh, Dacid, you so pretty!
Something like that. I understand.
I actually get really mad if people legitimately try to coach me, because I would like to imagine I've already thought about whatever they're telling me. And instead, I would rather them just get some energy behind me so I can write it.
So basically, Spirit Juice and the Grimer army just shouting incoherently.
That's amazing. Yes, that's perfect.
Amazing.
It's so bad, though. In fact, we're going to see a little bit of that Grimer army in the video analysis later today. So that's something to look forward to.
So actually, this goes into the next topic we had, which was how do you game plan around a bad matchup? Because you were talking earlier, Koopa, about how you want to collect yourself, you want to think about bad matchups and what makes them bad. So I mean, the thing is that this early in the game, there are some pretty heinous matchups. People say that there's at least like 3 different 7-3 matchups in the game.
Yeah.
And
I definitely believe that.
Yeah, and so. It's one of those things where your options in the face of a bad matchup are, number 1, pick a different character, like Super Turbo style, or number 2, just change your game plan and just live with the fact that you have to play better than them.
Okay.
That's a hard conversation, for sure.
Okay, so should I start this one off?
Go for it.
Alright, so I'm a naturally defensive kind of player. I think that's pretty well known by now. So if I play in a matchup and I'm getting blown up pretty hard, I think to myself, my natural playstyle isn't doing too well. So let me go ahead and try to do the Daigo, which is...
Just go crazy.
Go crazy and see how they respond to it. I try to channel in Alex Vi, rush that shit down and see what happens. And if it works, then I know I'm on the right path. If it doesn't work, I want to try to find some type of middle ground where offense and defense shake hands and say, okay, maybe this will work, let's throw the fireballs, and then eventually rush them down, alright? But, let me see, approaching a bad matchup, I think is mostly in the head. Because if you believe a bad matchup's actually in your favor, you can do fairly well in it. Let me give you an example. I once thought, at one point, Zangief versus Akuma was in Gief's favor. And this was...
Interesting.
This is with the knowledge of the standing roundhouse loop in vanilla.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I do, and I consistently land this, was I'd stay just at the tip of standing roundhouse's Akuma's range, and I would call him out every single time they tried to do it. So I would focus backdash, and then I'd ultra. I landed this every single time, and I was like,
Wow.
this matchup's in my favor because of that. Like, so interestingly enough, after I learned that matchup wasn't in my favor, I started doing worse.
Uh-huh.
But
There's definitely a mental part to this.
Yeah.
For example, I told you recently that I will not believe that Akihiko loses any matchups. Even though he probably does. I don't want that to be part of my mental repertoire at any point.
Right.
I did just have a fantastic performance against 2GB yesterday.
Yes.
I 6-0'd him in Grand Finals. And I do like to believe that that's partly because I never gave up on the matchup, even though there are many people who told me that matchup looks unwinnable earlier on in the game. I don't feel like it's that bad personally, but it is potentially a 4-6.
Yes.
But when I go into the matchup, when I'm playing against 2GB, I'm not focusing on that. I'm focusing on how do I beat 2GB combo. I'm focusing on the player himself. If you can call out player-specific tendencies and simply outplay them, the tier list does not matter anymore. Tier lists are based on even play. If you're outplaying someone, it's not relevant at all.
Right.
So you will not necessarily lose 4 out of 6. You could potentially win 6-0. So it's really important not to give up before you start. That being said, I feel like there are some matchups in this game that kind of supersede that. I think Shadow Labrys versus Yukiko is really, really terrible. Defensively, Yukiko doesn't have any tools. Offensively, Yukiko doesn't really have any tools. And at the neutral game, Shadow Labrys beats Yukiko. So when I think of that matchup, I think pick a different character, please. Because I just don't understand how any amount of time could fix that.
And yet, yesterday when Chun took on Orion X Elite, Chun was basically one read away from winning that match.
However, I feel like Chun was doing much better than Orion X Elite. And he still lost by a pretty significant margin. In the matchup itself, when I was commentating, I was thinking, wow, Chun's getting a lot of the hits, and he's doing a lot of things right, making a lot of great defensive calls, even very odd things like neutral game, air dash call out all out attack, like just bizarre things that were all working, and then he still lost rounds. More than James lost. So I was a bit crestfallen for Anime Chun, and it was hard for me to watch a lot of his hard work not seem to pay off. That being said, I do think Chun can still optimize his game a lot more, and so can Orion X Elite. So maybe that's not accurate, but it was kind of hard to watch for me. I don't think there's many matchups like that in this game.
Let's go ahead and break that down, though. So, that's it, bro. If a matchup is 7-3 and you have no question about it, do you believe in continuing it, or do you believe in just Sanford Kelly?
If a matchup is 3-7 out of my favor, and I am expecting to win the tournament, I feel like that is a grand disrespect to all my opponents. I don't know how I could go into a tournament knowing my character has 3-7 matchups, and that matchup will be present in the tournament, and just think that, like, wow, that's fine. That's okay. Because I'm assuming that I'm going to outplay my opponent so hard that it doesn't matter that my character should be losing 66% of the time. More than that. Probably 70, 75% of the time. So, I would say pick a better character. Or at least pick a pocket character for those matchups that is even or better.
Okay. Sheep, how about you take this one if you can?
Yeah, so one of the things is that, you know, you have to also remember that you're playing a player and not just against a character. And so, you know, that's something that Dacid alluded to. And one of the things that will help this is training mode, right? You just, you're going to find a player's tendencies, right? And then so you start trying to program the AI, you know, program the training dummy to mimic some of those tendencies, and then you try and find the holes. You know, like in 2GB combos pressure strings, there are points at which you can DP and he will get blown up because Aegis is flinging her body at you all over the place, and there's bound to be at least a hole somewhere. Like 2GB and some of the other Aegises, they rely on their pressure to make sure that you're always going to be reacting. You're not ever going to be taking the initiative. But, you can take advantage of that mindset. You can take advantage of that kind of player. Now, once you get up to around, say, a James Shea, and he's starting to fill in the holes with burst baits and DP baits and things like that, then you have to start, getting better at that. You have to be the next level of player. But you have to be able to play against a player, not just play against a character. Because even if someone goes in knowing that their matchup is 7-3, maybe that makes them overconfident. Maybe they start playing sloppy.
Maybe they don't play the matchup.
Right.
Yeah.
For example, Koopa. We keep going back to this matchup, the Teddy Shadow Labyrinth matchup. If you know that I'm always going to be hitting B in neutral, just 5B, start rolling.
Yeah.
If you make it whiff, then it's just completely free, because the whole thing is that only on contact is that move safe, with the dash cancel, with the back dash cancel, with even just the 2D cancel for the extra Moogle Parade trolling,
Yeah, actually, I played you online. I think you remember this.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and I realized that you're just trying to annoy me with that bat. So I let you try to bat the persona repeatedly when I was blocking. You gave me meter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just said, okay, you're doing nothing. And I was going to sit back here and just pretend I'm reading a book.
And
that's actually a really good point. The neutral, just the system mechanics of the game really support a structured thought process, even in a losing matchup.
Yes.
Which is, I think, one of the reasons you can theoretically overcome a bad matchup. It's just that also can work in reverse, where your opponent has even more answers to deal with your tools. So I think you definitely really can't get away with frauding it up with any character in this game, but that doesn't mean the bad matchups aren't there at the top level.
Right. Alright, so is there anything else we want to cover on this topic before we get into the video portion of this evening?
Yes, actually, I would like to talk about training mode.
Oh yeah, we had a couple
mention.
questions about that before, actually, and I mentioned a little bit about training mode, about if you're having trouble with a very specific mix-up, you just need to learn how to do it yourself, get the training dummy to do it on you, and try and find the holes. That's sort of step one.
Yes.
But
go on.
Go ahead.
So, okay, why not? I'll do it, alright? Alright, so I lost to Combo Fiend, and I lost to Renaud, Arcade Shock Renaud, I believe, playing Chie. So I was actually going in pretty blind when I fought against Arcade Shock Renaud during the launch tournament in SoCal.
At that point, you'd only played against my Chalma, right?
Yeah, for jokes, right?
Yeah.
And then I played the real thing, and I was like, okay, I would like to get some information before I fight Chie. I went over and I talked to Kenyon, and I was like, hey, Kenyon, before my match with Renaud, can you show me what Chie does? And he was like, okay, this is what Chie does. Unfortunately, Valle was right behind us and said, hey guys, get off, that's not casuals. I was like, that sucks. Anyway, so what I ended up doing was I tried my hardest against Arcade Renaud Shock. Whoa, what?
Arcade Renaud Shock?
That's just the best. We're gonna go with that.
Arcade Fire Renaud.
Alright, did my best against Renaud, ended up losing. And then I looked at the video. Looked at the video on Level Up's YouTube, and I analyzed it. And I said, okay, so when we were talking outside after I lost my match, he mentioned that there was a setup that I wasn't capitalizing on. And I was like, huh, I want to look around. He would do sweep into jump cancel, it's obvious. Sweep into call persona, which is, in this particular one, he did sweep into down DD, which is the lockdown persona with the spinning stick, right? And he would do sweep jump C. Instant jump C, actually. So I went into training mode, and I was like, let's try to find out the gap within the string. So I found out when he does sweep, and he calls persona, if I jab, persona dies, I get pressure. So that's answer 1. If he sweeps and does jump C immediately, if I press the button, I get hit. But jump C is not an overhead. And after jump C is blocked, if you press standing A, and he presses his fastest move in the air, you hit him out of it. The next thing I learned is if he does sweep and jump cancels and press jump B, if you mashed A earlier, you're going to stop him. And that's actually the very, very last thing, but I consider it irrelevant, is if he sweeps and cancels to a special, he has no gap, so you can't even press a button anyway. So
What if he canceled to one of his slower specials like Core Circle 4B?
I think, let's see, you're talking about the up kicks, right?
Yeah, the slower up kicks.
There was no gap, from what I remember.
Interesting.
because of how I think it was positioning. But regardless, I was trying to press a button, nothing came out.
Okay.
It might just be my character because I have a 7-frame jab. It's pretty slow.
Could also be timing
Could be timing as well.
if you delete it.
Anyway, that said, training mode, right? I believe when most players think of training mode, they think of, hey, let's practice out our combos, our execution, stuff like that. And I'm saying that is, yes, part of the game. In fact, if you go over to AGE Fnatic stream, you see him grinding out his combos in sets, like 50 sets of doing X combo, 50 sets of doing instant overhead or something like that. Well, not instant overhead, but it might as well be. It's freaking Magneto's overhead.
Yeah.
And he does that over and over. He's essentially making it so that all the important things in a match are not, how would I say this? They're part of your body. Like, you understand it already. It's like body memory. You know what I'm talking about, right?
You're talking about muscle memory, right?
Muscle memory. There we go. So it's okay.
I just wanted to watch you like fall over that one for a minute.
I hate you. All right. So it's part of muscle memory, and you don't have to put it into your head when you play. It's not gonna be like, why did I drop that combo? Let me think about it. It's okay. I got this combo down. Don't even need to think about it. Let's focus on the real thing, the matchup, the player, right? And then other things besides trading combos and getting things to muscle memory and testing how to find answers against strings or characters you don't know about or things that players do specifically. I also recommend trying to be the pioneer of your character, because not everything is found out, especially when a game begins, or rather when a game is brought to console from arcade. There's still things to be found out, and we're still getting new information every day, like instant kill glitches. That's completely irrelevant, apparently. Finding technology for your character could be the change from a 3-7 matchup into a 5-5. You never know, in all honesty. Because, for example, Naoto, prior to finding the SMP loop, I guarantee you Naoto is one of the worst characters in the game.
And now she's probably one of the best.
One of the best. I agree with that, too. You might be the pioneer to find that technology to help your character out. And for people who don't know what SMP loop is, it's save move proration. If you look it up on YouTube, you'll be very happy to know what that is.
And Hanzo Gonzo did invent that.
Indeed, yeah.
And he made up the entire combo engine. So shoutouts to Based Hanzo.
Yeah, Based Hanzo, and he shared that. He shared SMP loop with everyone on the internet. So
how gracious!
How gracious! I agree.
Oh, and also he has the best Akihiko tutorial on the internet right now.
That's true.
I learned so much.
Verified by myself. It's a really, really good guide. If you haven't seen it, check out Waste of Flesh YouTube. Very solid Akihiko guide by Hanzo Gonzo.
Yeah. How about Dasabro or Sheep? Whoever wants to take this off.
Well, I think one of the best things about training mode is in this game. Not only can you record, which means you can like record a setup, like a mix-up or something, like let the dummy knock you down and perform an advanced, sophisticated mix-up on you. Not only can you do that, but you can also randomize it between a few recordings. So you can do the mix-up and do different aspects of the mix-up in random. So you can like actually train yourself to block certain mix-ups that you've had trouble with. I think that's really impressive on Arcsys' side to have that kind of foresight, because the training mode itself and the record feature is great, but you could like only simulate the mix-up. You're not actually simulating reacting to the mix-up. So that is a really, really cool feature of the game. You can see which mix-ups are actually like really 50-50, or which ones are just kind of pretending to be 50-50s and catch you because you don't know about it. If
I pause you for just a moment, you said you could randomize the recordings. Can you please tell the stream how to do that?
Unfortunately, I don't know.
Sorry.
I don't have a copy of the game myself. I have just been told this feature exists.
Wait, what?
Wait, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put this on you just because you don't know. Go on.
You mean how to do it?
No, just keep talking, sir.
Okay.
No, he's putting Chie doing the worm on you, is what he's doing.
Oh. Thanks.
No, thank you.
Yeah,
it really
pretty much.
looks like Akihiko has his arm in a really bad place.
Oh God.
Or he's got like that.
How does this always happen?
You always say something that just happens to deserve it.
Okay, so I don't have a copy of the game, but apparently you can randomize the training. If you actually can't, that's really funny, but I believe that you can.
Okay.
All right. Well, actually, that's our homework for next week. We're going to learn how to do that, and we're going to do a little tutorial on how to do that in training mode.
Okay.
And that'll be nice content for the podcast. It'll be nice content. We can put that on YouTube and just show people. Just a feature that a lot of people didn't know about, honestly. But, you know, the way that that's useful is that, for example, going back to 2 Gigabyte Combo and his Aegis, right? The general mix-up is going to be Orgia mode, sweep, air dash, jump cancel that, and then either go into the 50-50 of just hit B or land and sweep again, right?
Sure. Okay, go on.
Yeah.
And so what you can do is you can record one with him turning on Orgia mode, going into the sweep, going into the air, and hitting you, and then you can do the same thing with him going into the air, then turning off hover mode, going to the ground, and sweeping you again. And so that's the standard 50-50 mix-up, right? The high-low mix-up there off of the jump cancel. And so what you do from there is that you add in a third one, where it's just like land throw you, for example. And so you just train yourself to try and recognize what means what. You know, when you should start blocking high, when you should stop blocking high, when you need to try and do like a block or hit a persona button, option select, that kind of thing. And so, you know, just find the gaps, try everything. You know, a lot of people, they just in a match, they will just lean on their fastest move, which will be either 5A or R action, and that will get you killed. So what you need to do is learn under a non-pressure situation exactly what button you need to press. What buttons are the ones that work.
I'll provide a quick tip about Aegis' mix-up. If you don't instant block, you cannot do anything. So make sure you're working on instant blocking it, because when you instant block the right attacks, you can press reversal, you can press roll. She has to actually bait you then. If you don't, she gets to just maul on you.
Okay, quick question, Dacid. Are one of those attacks, if you instant block, sweep?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much.
No problem.
All right.
But yeah, that's another thing that training mode will provide you. It'll provide you with that timing that you need. It's like a lot of people here, they'll never be able to see frames like James Shea does. You know, they'll never be able to just stare at something and just go, that's this many frames. They'll feel it, because, you know, not really many people can actually count by 1/60th of a second, to be perfectly honest. Like, very few people can even do that in slow motion. But what you can do is you can just get used to the timing. Once again, you put it into your muscle memory, you put it into your procedural memory. You just feel like he's going to do a sweep right there, and you at the timing that you're used to, yeah, your left hand will just tell you that you need to block, you know, and that's something that you can't learn on the fly very well. You need to be able to go in there and say to yourself, I need to put in the dedication to learn how to instant block this entire string, you know. And you can start pretty easily. You can just start with everybody's AAA, right? That's something that you'll see a lot, and learning how to instant block every single one of those hits is going to teach you a lot about how to win at the game, starting with your defense.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other mentions to add to the topic?
Nothing on my side.
Yeah, I think that's good for now.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and finally try our video analysis of Grand Finals of NorCal Install.
This
was Kanji versus Aegis, right? Pain versus 2 Gigabyte Combo?
Correct.
Which is funny, because Kanji versus Aegis has also been the grand finals of Wednesday Night Fights twice now.
Yeah, exactly. It seems to be pretty popular.
Between the Biter and James Shea. It's kind of awesome.
Okay, so to all the viewers, we're going to let you know that we do not want to overspeak the current commentators within the video, so we're muting the volume so we can speak during the video.
Also, because the commentators during those said grand finals were me and Dacid.
Okay, alright. That's the main reason why, isn't it?
So
which means that if we were talking at the same time, all of our thoughts would flow into each other, and we'd end up saying something like, the purple elephant likes to walk the dog.
What?
I'm telling you, it would be nonsense. It would be gibberish.
Alright, thank you.
That makes sense right now, actually. That does make sense to me.
Yeah.
Alright, so... Oops, sorry about that. That was the chat. We're gonna start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
So this part is where Pain is up 1-0 in this matchup.
Correct.
And Kanji versus any kind of zoner, like including Aegis, seems like it would be a terrible matchup. But the good thing is that Aegis, most of her damage comes from mix-ups, not from zoning. And her zoning does have a finite limit. She has 120 bullets, so she can't zone you forever, or she'll throw out a gun and it won't do anything.
Right. And already, jeez, gets knocked down. Sorry.
Simultaneously, she has to watch her Orgia meter, because if she runs out of that, she's like a sitting duck for Kanji.
Okay. I like the choice of anti-air of 2B there when he jumped a little bit too high. Kanji's jump arc isn't the fastest, so it's pretty reactable at that point.
Something to note there, 2GB tried to use a safe jump meaty setup there. Kanji's DP does not allow that. You cannot safe jump Kanji's DP no matter what, period. It's one of the only Dragon Punches ever to have that feature.
Actually, you can safe jump at only one setup.
Is that right?
Yes.
What is that setup?
Naoto's safe jump setup.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know about that. We'll have to look into that. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I'll show it to you.
Shoot.
And
wow, great command grab. He called the Dragon Punch, walked forward, got the command grab. That's going to kill him.
And then, oh, the Grimer army! Right there!
Shout outs to Dark Talon cheering on his brother.
Very nice.
Grimer Army is a bit of an inside joke.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to explain it.
Okay,
It's a spirit juice joke. We'll let him explain it. He's in the chat.
Actually, 2GB right there actually employed one of the only ways you can safe jump Kanji's Dragon Punch, now that I'm thinking about it. If you use your Persona to attack it, the Dragon Punch will not catch you. It will catch your Persona and break your Persona instead.
Yes.
So you can use your Persona to safe jump it. I'm sorry, that's actually a really important thing that I should have mentioned earlier.
Which is exactly what Naoto does.
Ah, okay.
There we go. And also what Mitsuru does too. I believe it was jump D or jump C. It's the
Jump
upper
C.
whip. Yeah.
Jump C.
I made a Kanji player very sad when I told the Mitsuru player how to do that. I'm sorry.
But anyway, that was
paralysis.
a great way for Pain to get out of the corner.
Really nice DP there on reaction too.
Yeah, that was good. 2GB combo, very confident Dragon Punch, got him out of the corner.
Oh, now a Persona broke.
That is something that Pain should have rolled. That super, the uppercut super, is a awakening super for Aegis, and as a result, it's very good.
Yes.
If you're in the air, you actually can't punish it at all.
Right.
But if you're on the ground and you haven't committed, you can reaction roll it, and Pain could have done that right there.
Yes,
All right,
and it was
let's
actually
pause right
safe
here
on block
for the
as well.
KO.
All right, block.
Right.
Very first thing I want to say right there is I didn't realize this until whoops, my bad. I didn't realize this until Combo Fiend played against Black Mage over in SoCal. That when Kanji's Persona is broken, he cannot command throw you. I think he can't even DP you.
That's
I
correct.
think so. Yeah.
Which means the moment that 2GB broke Pain's Persona, he should have went in for the dumbest shit ever.
Yeah, because there's pretty much nothing that Pain could do except for anti-air.
Right.
Which,
And
unfortunately,
it's
is
slow.
a big problem for Aegis,
Exactly.
because that is very relevant.
Wait.
But if he let it with 2B, that would have been very hard to anti-air.
Oh, there we go. Let me see. What else was there? For matchups that you feel are very uncomfortable when you're playing against Kanji, because Kanji blows up, new players mostly. Actually, grapplers in general blow up new players.
Definitely.
That's when he's defenseless, and that's the best time to go ahead and attack Kanji. Just take off your fear, take off your shirt, and just say, "Yo, I'm a grappler 2 times 3 or whatever." I don't know. Let's go for it.
Yep.
And so another thing is that, both of these guys were coming in without a huge amount of matchup knowledge, but they knew their own characters really well. And so, David, during the match, you kept yelling at Pain to roll through the Aegis version of Sphere Flame, her Awakening Super.
Yeah.
And that's actually something that you need to practice in just training mode and online in general, is that random reversal Awakening Super, because they are all extremely good, and they all have their holes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you just need to find it.
They usually break some fundamental rule of fighting games, like this reversal super is safe on block. Like that is a sentence you will never hear in a fighting game. But these supers break that because they're awakening supers. But the game developers didn't just make them stupid, they still made them punishable in their own way.
Right. For example, once again going back to Circus Bear. Sure, he's invincible for a good 3 seconds, but then you know exactly where he's coming from after the super, and you can start game planning. Like, if you think that he's going to dash forward, then you go to where he's going to land and you hit 2B, and then suddenly you have a free launch combo. If you think he's going to dash backward, run forward, hit 2B. If you think that he's just going to try and, scumbag you out by going wherever the hell he wants and hitting A, throw him.
So pretty much you can very easily avoid the circus ball if you know the matchup. and then Teddy has spent 50 meter for not too much.
Well, it's spending 50 meter to return to neutral, which is basically the same as a blowback.
Right.
Yeah.
Which actually isn't so bad when you think about it.
Yeah.
Right. Especially since if you keep him in block stun and he tries to input that super, it won't work. If you hit him low.
Meanwhile, you know, what a lot of people have done against, for example, Shadow Labrys's Awakening Super, they block for the first moment to make sure that they don't get hit by what happens if you don't press a button. But after that, they see the Persona come out and they hit it. And suddenly there's no super at the end and they don't have to deal with that mix-up.
Actually, you can't do that.
Something to watch for. The Persona gets harder to break during that super.
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
So you'd have to have
it's normally
like
410 damage.
Yes.
But it seems to be more than that during Awakening.
Yes.
I know Akihiko 2B breaks the Persona normally, does not break it during Awakening super.
You'd have to do like a crazy strong super to break it.
It'd have to be like Jump C for Akihiko.
Okay, so that said, is there anything we should mention about the matchup that has happened?
Nope, don't think so.
Okay, I saw a lot of
really.
DPs, which I think is okay to throw out when you're in the lead, especially to condition your opponent to say, hey, respect this. When he starts doing that, you can finally let go. But at the moment...
Also,
yeah, go on.
if you have your burst.
You have a burst too, it doesn't matter. If you bait it out, burst, you're full screen again.
Payne kept his burst in his pocket for that entire match, basically.
Yes. Alright, so...
yeah.
We're going to start then in 5 seconds. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. We're still having the Grimer army in the background?
Yep.
I actually like that joke.
Let's start a
Notice
chant.
what 2GB does is actually that he just closes his eyes, takes his focus, but he doesn't actually take too long. He thinks about it a little bit, he just nods to himself and goes, okay, this is it. I don't think I did anything wrong there. I'm just going to keep playing my game. And he does. Like, this match is essentially the same as the last match, but the only thing that changes is that I guess gets the lead.
Now, you could notice right there, he forfeited his safe jump setup. He knew that Kanji's Dragon Punch was too scary. He could not afford to be knocked down, especially with Orgia mode still active. So he just backed up to neutral where he would still beat Kanji.
And I like how he ends the combo outside of the corner. Now he has positional advantage.
Right, he has got a lot of real estate behind him. It's very similar to like playing Dalsim or any kind of Street Fighter zoner. You want to have a lot of stage to back up for if you need to use it later.
Yes.
Yeah, just
Now
because
that was actually kind of a mistake. He ended the corner with ended it with himself in the corner, no Orgia mode, put himself into a very high threat moment where
As we
he's
see
really
right there.
exhibiting threat. Yeah, he
But
tried to
that's-
get out awkwardly, but he really just could not.
That's actually something I want to mention to people. It's a very good instinct at first when someone's in the corner to try and get in there and style on them because, you know, everybody does get extra damage in the corner. But it's one of those things where, especially against this kind of matchup, you need to suppress those instincts and continue playing the same game that you did outside of the corner.
And there we
Because
go.
if you play reckless and you try and get those big damage setups, someone with as good defense as Kanji can blow you up, as we saw there, and just
Absolutely.
do 4,800 to you if you get too crazy. So 2GB recognized that later in the match, and he stopped. He played a much more deliberate game. Well, he didn't stop, he's Aegis, but still, he played a much more deliberate game, gave Kanji a lot more room, and that's a huge part of how he managed to take that round.
Yeah. Focused on conserving Orgia meter, focused on keeping Kanji at a awkward place where her mobility is vastly superior, and his defense just can't operate because he's not playing defense, he's playing neutral. And Kanji's neutral game is actually relatively weak in a lot of circumstances. He has to make insane reads compared to characters that can just poke at him and whittle him down like 2GB just did right there.
And wow, that was so fast. A part of me wasn't even sure what happened.
And you notice, like, most of that was not even mix-up. It was just footsies at a range where Kanji can't deal with it.
Yes. And tell me when you guys are done with the match, because I just paused mine.
Oh, sorry.
I paused it. I just paused it at the character select, so let me know when you're there. But
Okay.
anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
But
done.
any other points about that match? Because that was where 2GB was behind. He was behind the 8 ball really badly. He was coming from losers. He was down 0-2. And what happened is that he calmed down. He said, okay, I think I can... I don't have to play too differently. I have to play a little bit safer. Just not run into situations where Kanji can find the holes in my block string.
Right.
It's like he didn't change his overall game plan, but he just played less crazy.
Yeah, actually, what I really liked what he did, besides the positional advantage, right, was knockdown. I'm gonna let this player hang himself, and so many players out there do, where you put them in the corner and they crack so hard. Because I play grapplers for a really large span of my time, where I put an opponent in the corner and my mix-up is doing nothing, and they just hang themselves. Wake up DP, jump on wake up, press buttons on wake up, etc. And that's essentially what 2GB did. Ended his combo there, and he was still in Orgia mode at one point, I remember that. And the mix-up from Orgia mode is unreactable, where he just did, hey, wait, nothing came out, okay, overhead time. How about you, Dastard? Anything to say?
No, it's pretty much exactly what you just said. He was willing to forfeit a lot of safe jump setups and return to neutral, and he just let Kanji suffer at neutral.
Okay.
It's one of those things, going back to the corner mix-up stuff. It's very similar to playing football. And so, sure, your back is to the wall, right? But that just means that you have less space that you have to defend and less to worry about. And so if someone's just coming at you crazy, then you don't have to worry about them going over your head very often. You know, you don't have to worry about a lot of angles. So, and in many cases, when you're in the corner, you have them right where you want them. It's like, okay, there's no space for me to back up, but you know what? You have to come at me now. And Pain was able to take advantage of that in the first couple matches. And 2GB, when he got into the corner situation, went, okay, sure, I'm gonna back out a little more. Like, he still went crazy and he paid for it, but after getting hit a couple times, he's like, okay, wait, I'm doing this wrong. I'm gonna change my game plan, and it worked out for him.
Yeah. Yeah, we could probably continue at that point.
Okay, so let's go ahead. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
And so actually, this is something that that Pain does at the beginning of this round that a lot of people would never do with a grappler. He starts off the round by backing up.
Yes.
One thing he's probably considering is that his Thunderbolt is most effective at a range unlike that. Wow, great Dragon Punch bait by Kanji.
Yeah.
When he baits that Dragon Punch, he wants to punish with standing C, because that does a fatal counter. He's going to get about 7,000 damage from that whole combo. So she has to be so careful with that Dragon Punch.
Meterless, I believe it's 5k though. But let's see.
Okay.
Double DP.
Nice, caught him. And picks it up because he wasn't teching.
It's a very low damage combo though. Can't really get anything from that Dragon Punch. Intentionally so.
It's so good on the defense. Why would you make it great on offense, right?
That'd be too much. Oh, drops the combo.
Nice composure by 2GB, but he does drop the combo. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
If he had finished that combo, he probably would have won that round.
Yeah, it would have led into a mix-up, essentially.
Grime Armor goes crazy.
Oh, wow. A risk from Pain, but not punished yet. Not a risk from Pain.
The thing is, 2GB has not given him a reason to stop pressing Dragon Punch. It actually has not been punished once.
Yes.
So Pain has noticed that, picked up on it, and is just mashing on it now. Basically kind of rubbing in 2GB's face. You can't give me a reason to stop doing this. And, I mean, in a lot of regards, it's stabling the matchup for him because 2GB as a player has just not punished it yet. And alternatively, Pain has been punishing 2G's Dragon Punches very well.
Right. Ends that match really fast. I'm going to hit pause right about now. Alright, so the current score, I believe, is...
I think there's still another round in that one.
Still another round, dude.
Oh, my bad.
Alright, let's go again.
Oh, wow, there is! Oh, God, go on. Okay, interesting. This time, Pain starts a round with anti-air Persona Grab. Doesn't pay off.
Well, he ran forward, so he was trying to get a rise out of 2GB. Like, actual... it's something that Valle says all the time. I'm going to walk forward until you do something, and then I have you scouted out.
Yes.
And so, you know, he's just varying his angles a lot.
I like the really calm mix-up of Pain when 2GB is in paralysis. He kind of calls 2GB's bluff, he short hops, then presses some button, and then he just casually grabs him out of paralysis because he knows that he's going to be stuck there and the grab has invulnerability.
Right.
Really puts 2GB in a very stressful spot, especially when Pain has been so good at baiting Dragon Punches so far.
And Pain goes from corner to corner, and he kind of just doesn't care that he's in the corner, because you saw when Aegis had Kanji in the corner, she just backs off.
Big drop from Pain.
Oh!
If he had actually converted that, that would have killed 2 GB combo.
Definitely,
Yes.
but
It would have
gave
dodged
her
the Awakening. If you can successfully dodge Awakening at any point, it's really, really useful because you dodge the roughly 1/3 damage reduction that people get in Awakening.
And I'm going to pause at the catch select screen.
Okay.
Right about now.
All
Okay,
right.
so there's one small thing I noticed at the very end there, besides the drop combo, unfortunately, was I believe Aegis' standing C is a good way to bait Kanji on Wake Up. So I wonder if 2 GB knows that, and I'm kind of worried if he does. That's a good thing.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
I believe that he has countered for that, but I also think that Pain has a counter for that as well because I saw him hit it with a reversal chair super at a range where I don't know if any of his other options would have worked. And that was actually the call that was going to win him the round, but he dropped the combo.
Yes.
So I think as Pain right here, he can't think, wow, I need to restructure my game plan or I need to like really think about what to do next. He just needs to not drop the combo.
Yeah.
Because he actually outplayed 2 Gig in that match, and it's really important not to get caught up if you did lose a round on your own user error.
And the thing is that you can actually see it in their faces a bit because both of them are kind of sheepish looking. Where
Yeah.
it's like, I didn't deserve that. Yeah, yeah.
In different manners, yeah.
Right.
Anything else to add?
Don't think so.
Okay, let's continue. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go.
Look at those two handsome men in the top left corner.
It's almost like we're live.
I know.
Beautiful day here at Game Center Arcade.
Oh, wow, full
Love the
dash.
Wow, amazing defense by Pain. He is so good at seeing the overhead low mix-up. I don't actually know how he does it.
He plays the character, so I think he memorizes the setups.
But even then, it's pretty much unreactable high-low. I mean, he must have some kind of good read on 2 GB mix-up specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah, the funny thing is that Dark Talon was asking recently, it's like, how do you block Aegis? I hate this character. And I'm like, why don't you ask your brother? And he said, well, my brother said you just don't. You can't.
And then he blocks it? Okay.
He's clearly guessing. There's just no other explanation for it. The mix-up is sub like 15 frames or something like that, so there's no way you're reacting to it.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's 2 frames.
Thanks, Mr.
Shout out to
Wizard.
Mr. Wizard.
Alright.
Oh,
Oh,
I just
nice
wanna
catch!
clarify, Mr. Wizard never said it would not be at Evo, but he did say Cross Tekken would not be at Evo. I just want to throw that out there. Even though he hates the game, it's not a death sentence whatsoever.
Nice conversion. This might dodge Awakening. EX chair?
The problem is there was too much of a combo before that,
Oh,
so it didn't
separation.
actually do it. And Pain
No
makes the
roll.
mistake of blocking that once again. At this point, he did not know you can roll that Awakening Super and punish.
Yeah.
And I believe I was mentioning it on commentary, but I was mentioning it softly so that Pain would not get an undeserved win because I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
But Pain takes it anyway. He's a very phenomenal player.
Nice blocking the cross-up.
Yeah, and also 2 Gig was definitely doing that as a way to bait the Dragon Punch as well.
Yep.
I don't think that would have capitalized for a full damage combo, but if he had thrown the Dragon Punch, he would have got a full damage punish. So it's a way to like prevent other options on Wake Up. Very safe choice. Get to see what your opponent's doing, and still bait the Dragon Punch.
Nice. Good reactions and calling out the anti-air. Or rather, he did the anti-air. Oh, the backdash!
Yep.
So good. Were you angry the moment you found that out? Because I was.
Are you talking about the Aegis or Gear backdash?
Yes.
The Aegis Orgia backdash is very powerful, but I recognize that if she gets knocked down in Orgia mode, it's kind of the end of the world for her. So I like that they gave her an extra defensive option to get out of that circumstance, and I also like that that defensive option is counter hit if you call it out.
Very nice.
When she flies up back into the air, it is counter hit if you hit her at the end of it, so keep that in mind.
Right. And no roll again. Oh, never mind, he got it! No, he didn't.
He looked for
No,
the Command Grab Super, it doesn't actually work. If
Yeah,
he had rolled
she's
and then
airborne.
input that, he would have been good.
Caught him pressing buttons. Cancel. Super.
Oh my god.
That's it!
Well,
No, this is actually the controversial moment here.
yeah. This is our Olympics moment here.
Oh.
But you know what? Let's just say that Payne won that one on the great read. And
Here's the thing. 2 Gigabyte is dead, right? He has one sliver of health that would have been killed by the chair follow-up.
Okay.
There's no question that Pain would have hit that because that's not difficult. It's like a 10-frame link. Pain is a solid player that hits much harder than that combos all the time. 10 frame is like a joke, by the way. Like you cannot miss that. And they both recognized that 2GB had lost that set. That was the end of Grand Finals. And 2GB, there's like a moment where his competitive instinct kicks in, and he's like, man, that's not fair. You know, I could have still won that. He might have dropped the combo. But he recognized that as a good sport, he needs to say he lost that match, and he does, in fact, give the win to Pain. And I really like that. That was a really good sign for the community that he would not get hung up on that so much that he would lose sight of what like reality is, you know? Because in a lot of these controversial moments, people just like lose it, you know? Like they just want to win so much that they lose their minds. And 2GIG really like just brought it back to reality, gave Pain the win, and Pain won that set. And that was the end of Grand Finals.
So is there anything that you guys want to say about just the match in general and how people can apply it to their own games, not just by, you know, saying, oh, Pain's defense was really great that round and things like that?
I want to say good use of burst management. So keeping that as an extra tool in case your DP didn't work, as Pain was doing and you saw. I liked the positional combo enders where they would end the combo, get out of the corner, and forgo mix-up for, you know, just seeing if the opponent's going to do something stupid and wake up, as well as I have all this leeway behind me. How about you, Dasid?
I just feel like it's a classic case of a player completely outplaying the other player. I don't think that 2GB hit a single Dragon Punch, or if he did, they were very rare. And on the other side, I don't think that Pain was ever baited for one. It was like Pain would throw the Dragon Punch constantly, but it hit nearly every single time. And I think a lot of people get the wrong idea. Sometimes strong players will throw the Dragon Punch a lot, and it does not mean the player's random or crazy. Like, it just means he has some kind of great read. I had a lot of personal feedback after I lost to Saif in Southern California. A lot of people don't know who Saif is, but he's a Guilty Gear player, and he goes way back in the fighting game community. He hit me with something like 13 out of 15 Dragon Punches. And people were telling me on Twitter, like, man, I can't believe you lost to that random Narukami. Like, you totally deserve that win. But the only response I could give was, I don't know how you can say that, because he threw 15 Dragon Punches and I couldn't bait it. Like, that's unbelievable. I'm a guy that usually plays very conservatively, tries to find Dragon Punches, usually puts a lot of those kinds of safe setups into my offense, and he had some kind of pattern read on some subconscious level that no one had hit before, that he got away with 13 out of 15 Dragon Punches, and I think the other two he bursted out of the punish. So he was just making great, phenomenal use of his basic systematic tools and was able to pick apart my game plan. And it was very much the same story in Pain versus 2GB combo. I think it was actually very much the same story as me and 2GB combo last night. I remember that most of my mix-up was paying off at like 75% or more, and 2GB could not secure any mix-up whatsoever. So that kind of stuff happens all the time, where one player will just have some kind of phenomenal read and just snowball the matchup.
All right. So, Kuba, any final thoughts on your end?
None.
Okay. So, my final thoughts on that match are basically, you know, this you can't read too much into this because it is a week 2 tournament. There's a lot of things that you can apply to your own game for sure, but you can't just look at this and say, you know, Pain will dominate for the rest of the lifespan of Persona. You can't say that 2GB free. You can't say anything like that. You can't make those matchup judgments until you've played it for yourself, until you've learned all of the technology, until you've learned all of the reads. You know, it's like, well, if Pain had managed to roll through the Sphere Flame, you would have gotten like at least 2 rounds for free. But does that make it so that Kanji's advantaged? Hell no. You just need to be able to learn all of the tools available, and you need to learn all of the counters to those tools. And that's what you really should come out of this with, because there was a lot of really good blocking in that one for sure. But it comes down to the fact that these characters, Pain knew the Aegis and Kanji matchup better because he plays both Aegis and Kanji.
Right.
And 2 Gigabyte, he doesn't know Kanji that well. Like,
Yeah, it seemed like
doing, he was doing some things that you shouldn't be doing against Kanji, and he made at least a couple of good adjustments, but then he went away from those adjustments.
It's a fair point.
Okay, so if you guys have nothing else to add, I'd like to actually announce a few events that are coming up in the future. We're good to go?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Perfect. All right. So the very first one, actually, is tomorrow. We're having NorCal Dogfight on twitch.tv/NorCal Dogfight. At 3 p.m. PST, they're having Guilty Gear, Accent Core 1. Yeah, I think that's it. And Gundam vs. Gundam Extreme Versus. So for Gundam vs. Gundam Extreme Versus, it's a team-based game. So if you go to the venue, which is at 47 South B Street, San Mateo, California, 94402. Wow, I memorized it. Okay, there we go.
Very nice.
You would have to go as a team, but they also would help you out by, including you in as well. I'm pretty sure I love them. I love the guys at NorCal Dogfight. And also at 6 p.m. PST, they're having a 2 vs. 2 Persona 4 Arena tournament. So go there if you're interested in Persona 4 Arena. If you can't make it to the venue, you can always watch, once again, on their Twitch account, twitch.tv/NorCal Dogfight.
Yeah, I'll be at Dogfight for sure.
Awesome.
Next is Capital Fight District on the 26th of this month. Let's see.
This is a big one.
Yeah, it's actually really huge. I'm really hyped for this. At 12 p.m. PST is when the signups begin, and the stream begins at 2 p.m. PST. You can watch it here at twitch.tv/finestkill. There are 6 tournaments. Mortal Kombat 9, Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition 2012, Persona 4 Arena, Super Smash Bros. Brawl and Melee, and Ultimate Marvel's Capcom 3. I think That's Bro might be entering 3 tournaments, possibly.
We'll see.
All right. Okay. You never know. You might be taking money.
I'm definitely going there for Persona. I'm definitely going to try to get as many people from the Bay Area to make it up to there.
Okay.
So if you live in the Bay Area, please talk to me. I'm trying to get as many cars as possible up to there. I'm hoping for like 4, 5, 6, 7 different cars. So please let me know if you live in the Bay Area and you want to go to this tournament. I don't care if you've never gone to one before. Please let me know on my Twitter, @DasaBro. I'll try to get you guys hooked up with cars to go to Capital Fight District.
Okay. The venue is located in, I still can't pronounce this, so I'll just call it the LIMN building at 501 Arden Way, Sacramento, California. There's going to be multiple players in attendance. Dasbro is going, K-Beast, myself, Hi Am Nasty, X-Ray confirmed that he's coming. Hanzo Gonzo might be making it out, I hope he does. And we're also going to have a 5-on-5 Davis vs. Sacramento tourney. I checked out Twitter, and Dasbro wants to be secretly Sacramento, and I say, screw you.
Yeah, I am a mercenary. I was contacted. I am for hire, of course, so I might be signing up as Sacramento on that 5 vs. 5.
Oh, you know what? Let me just hire you for Davis while we're at it, too.
You know what? Whoever has the highest bid.
Okay. Grand Finals, Dacid Bros left hand versus Dacid Bros right hand.
I want to let you... You're staying at my place. You know that, Dacid, right?
That's true. Yeah, no, that's a good bid.
That's a pretty good bid. All right. All right. And if you win Persona 4 Arena, you get a $100 bonus.
On top of whatever entry is.
Yes, exactly. I also want to quickly announce that on August 23rd, 25th, unless you have plans, Dacid, at 2 p.m. PST, we are finally doing our Brave Fencer Musashi challenge run.
Were you saying it might be 23 to 25?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I might be able to make that work. We just have to schedule rides and everything. We'll talk about it.
Okay, God. Good God. Whatever.
Good God.
Good God.
Good God almighty.
God, y'all.
Glad you're here, man. Alright, so if you've been to Finest Kill in the early days, Datsubro and I were doing tons of commentary for non-fighting games, actually, from Catherine to God Hand to Valkyria Chronicles. This is something to look forward to, and I hope you spread the message. I hope you come to this event, because it's going to be so much fun. Dance or die, because Koopa and Datsun are here. Alright. And I think the very last flyer I got to show you is the one that took me the longest. And I'm still not done with it. Super NorCal Install is the NorCal major for Air Dash games, actually. It happens on September 8th at Game Center, 47 South B Street, San Mateo, California, 94402. The games are BlazBlue Extend, Persona 4 Arena, Skullgirls, and King of Fighters 13. I know tons of players will be coming to this event. We have NorCal obviously there, SoCal is interested in coming as well. Pacific Northwest, I know that Landis Huey is making that drive down to this venue. And is anyone else do you happen to know that's coming, Dasa?
Not off the top of my head.
Right.
Chun was mentioning that he might be able to get Texas to come out, which would be crazy because
Really?
Texas used to be a pretty strong Guilty Gear scene, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Texas is actually really good in BlazBlue too. They had Kid Viper. Poser Wolf early in CS1 was pretty strong. I think he's picking up Persona as well. There could be some really good competition coming out of Texas. I think Kenneth actually is making a comeback in Persona. There could be some really good Persona play coming from Texas.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, especially from Jordal. Okay.
Shout out to Texas Jordal.
But I would like to take this moment to remind everyone that this has been a really good start for Persona. And the best thing to do to keep this game alive is to keep it up. Just keep coming. And everybody so far has been pretty united in making sure that this game blows up. You saw that, you know, Dacid was willing to drive down I-5 twice in a week in order to play Persona just outside and just keep, you know, making sure that there's more hype for this game. Landis Huey has come down to California at least twice. You know, like, people are traveling for this game, and it's not just to have fun, even though everyone's, you know, having a ton of fun playing this game, to be perfectly honest. But it's also because they appreciate the fact that, you know, people like Chun, people like Alex Valle, all of those guys, they're running tournaments so that people will enter them. And so when you see that there's interest in people entering them, when you see people who enter them from 2, 3, 4 states away, then that's when you know, okay, this is a really good game. This has a really good community. I'm going to make sure that, you know, Super NCI is going to have this game. I'm going to make sure that SCR, NCR, they have this game. And, you know, EVO will have this game. SBO already had this game, but whether or not SBO is relevant is up to the mind of the eye of the beholder. But still, like, this game is it's strong. And the best way to keep it strong is to make sure that everyone who is even thinking about this game knows, you know, if I join this game, there's a lot of people who will help me have fun in this game. There's a lot of people who will come out and support everyone else in this game. And so, you know, that's the key.
Are there any last words, guys?
I think that wraps it up pretty well for me.
Okay. And
all right, so yeah, I just wanted to say, you know, thanks everybody for coming out once again. We have homework this week. We're gonna have to learn how to program the training mode, right? So we'll do that.
And if it doesn't actually exist, please blow me up on my Twitter at DasaBro. I need to be the first one to hear if I'm an idiot, and that is the best place to send me hate mail.
It is forgivable though. You are a Street Fighter player at heart. So
shoutouts to AT&T Uverse. Actually, a really good documentary on Evo. However, some things were just obviously incorrect. They didn't have enough information. You should watch the documentary yourself if you haven't. You'll probably laugh at some parts, and you'll probably think it's a pretty good documentary at other parts.
all right, and I think that's done for now. I hope you check out the One More podcast on Monday at 6:30 p.m. PST.
wait, Monday?
Monday. We've changed the schedule.
Okay. We're having the next One More podcast in 3 days.
Yes,
that's right.
We are.
All right then. We'll have a lot to talk about, won't we?
Yes, we will.
There's plenty to talk about, honestly. This
there
game
is.
there's so much to it.
There really is.
All right, take it
I'm
easy,
sorry,
guys.
I'm hypnotized by Chies right now.
I hate you, Koopa.
I love you too.
And with that, we're signing out. Thank you guys for listening to the One More podcast. This has been Vibrating Sheep.
Live from San Mateo, good night.
Good night.
DasaBro signing out.
And I'm out.
Who are you?
I hate you!
Good night, everybody.